So welcome to part 2 of our major data structures. In reality, we're only going over 2 more data structures. They're very similar to what we've gone over before, but there are obviously some differences. I'm going over some more coding, I'm going over some more examples, exercises with solutions, stuff like that. But the big thing I want to get into first is, again, remember when we talked about our class profile, is that we actually have to think about 2 things right off the bat, is what data structure do we want, but also we have to worry about our design of our object. And in our design of our object, we have to think about what things do we want to use as a comparison feature. What features do we want to have access to? Very simple stuff that we did, with creating classes at first, but now we have to worry about, how are we going to sort these things? How are we going to arrange them? Are we going to arrange them? That's what we had to worry about, and we were introduced to that in the previous section with Major Data Structures 1. So in what you're seeing right now, there's not a lot of big changes from what you had, but I'm adding 2 more things, which is another constructor that you can see right here, and then what we've got in our double equals. Now again, remember, in this example, and it's being highlighted right now, you have a first name, last name, and score. The double equals means I want to compare 2 students in this case. So how am I going to compare 2 students? Now I've decided that I'm going to do this by using the first name and last name and score and comparing all 3 items that happen to be data members within this student. But what if I wanted to just compare scores and say, hey, these 2 students are, well, equivalent just by their scores? That's a design change that would need to happen here, and I'm going to show you some other alternatives to just having a double equal signs, especially when you have it compare and do some type of sorting and all that stuff. So this is a heads up precursor design-wise, even before we get to the other data structures, because the other data structures that are coming up require us to have some thought on how we're going to arrange our custom objects like we have right here. So it does require thought. Now here's the good news. Let's say you have some examples that I give you later. You get those running, great, and all the good stuff, and then you come up with a project and it's something different. The good news is all the code that you have right here is going to look similar to any other applications that you basically develop from here on out in this class. You're just going to need to tweak things. Maybe the data members are going to not be exactly the same. Fine. Then we'll make some changes. But you have a template, and that's what I want to get after you about, is we're looking at templates, and that's why we're doing a complete class profile, because then we can have something to relate to. And again, you can copy and paste it and change it for your next one, and that's okay, because remember, we're lazy, but we're also being smart. But we can't copy and paste design. And that's one part that we have to think about, even though we're starting to get more and more code. We can start copy and pasting some of this code, change it for a little bit for what we need. But design-wise, we have to think about that, especially when we get into this area of doing some type of comparison. So just a heads up throughout the rest of this part of the cycle in our major data structures.